All right, listen, everybody. I'm in a team queue right now. I wanted to talk about the patch today, but I haven't had time because it's been fun trying to ranked grind on this new patch because this is in the game. Woo! 5-stack at any parameters. Let's go. But more importantly, I want to talk a little bit about the actual balance changes that happened today. Orisa, first thing that got changed is her fortified damage reduction increased from 40 to 50%. I think this is fine. Orisa's already in like an okay spot as of beginning of season 5. She was kind of not played in season 4 and I think in 3 after a bunch of nerfs, but they're just tuning her a little bit. She is super squishy if she has like a Discord orb on her and a good Baptiste on the enemy team who can pump damage on her. But other than that, she could be very unkillable when played against the right composition. So this doesn't seem too bad. 50% seems fine. This is at the high level though. I feel like Orisa is still very unkillable at probably like the lower ranks you go because target focus isn't there, but she does melt in higher elos with the Discord orb. Because Discord orb got slightly nerfed, later on we'll go through. Orisa's actually probably in a B tier spot if I had to guess. Okay, Ramatra, slight actual buff quality of life change where the projectile now passes through enemy heroes but still blocked by barriers. Basically when you toss the vortex out and it bounces off an enemy, it might take a little bit before it activates. This is a very small change. I'm fine with that. Rhine, small buff, 1200 to 1400. I think this is fine. This is a weird thing to buff because they even said, we'll be keeping an eye on this as we don't want situations where players feel like they're always shooting at barriers like it was in Overwatch 1. They probably could have tuned Rhine in a different aspect rather than the shield health. As someone who doesn't play Reinhardt, I don't want more shields to shoot at, but I'll ask the Rhine mains in the chat and in the comments if this is the buff you wanted. I mean, it's probably a change where it's like, okay, I guess that's fine. It's not like a bad thing. Like they're not going to say no to it, but they probably could have changed hammer damage, maybe fixed the charge quality of life bugs where like it doesn't pin people. I don't know. Did Ryan even need it? Maybe give him his armor back because he went like he had like 625 and he went down to 600 HP as a nerf like a few seasons ago. Maybe just bring him back to 625. That was probably enough instead of this. Okay, Wrecking Ball, small quality of life buff where the manual reload time reduced from 2 to 1.6 seconds. It doesn't affect the automatic reload when transformed into a ball, which is 2 seconds. So basically a lot of balls would do like empty out their clip and then go back into ball form, do a little thingy mabobber, and then when they switch back to their primary fire, it's already automatically reloaded for them. But because they made the manual one a little bit faster, it makes it more of a viable option instead of always having to switch back into ball form. This is a nice change. This isn't gonna like be game breaking, but it makes balls have to think where if the situation's better to just manually reload versus switching back to ball for a boop. Sojourn, this is a pretty big buff. The number of shots to reach max spread increased from 8 to 12. So if you tap 12 shots from a distance, you can actually land all 12 perfectly accurate from a long range, which is really good to snipe down widows because there's no fall off damage on her projectile. So if she stands still and is not looking, you can just tap 12 bullets in a row over her head from a distance and kill her. And the spread being reduced by 12%, you can really feel this. Now, Sojourn is notoriously bad in low ranks, but she has a terrible win rate in low ranks, but she's like really annoying in the high ranks. So this is a case where you have to be careful because I think this is going to make good players even better because they're going to get more consistent rail charges. I don't know how I feel about this. Okay, Soldier 76 got giga buffed, I would say. Huge buffs, 18 to 19 damage. That changes a little bit of breakpoints. Helix Explosion changed from 80 to 90. That also means the Helix does 130 total instead of 120. And Biotic Field Healing, this is like meh. It's not like a huge deal, but like, I mean, he's a third support if you put it that way. I think these Soldier buffs are really good because he was kind of falling behind Ashe and Cass as hit scan choices. Therefore, this is kind of crazy. Mixed Soldier really good right now. Symmetra as well. Some people were like, oh, this is actually a net, maybe a nerf. Well, it's nerf to the builder aspect, right? Because what they did here is they changed the maximum impact and explosion from 45 to 50. So when you hit somebody, it previously did 90, now it does 100. So you 2-tap 200 HP heroes. If you shoot it through a BAP window, you can one-shot people. That's pretty crazy in terms of like the spam style. You also regen 30 shield health per second when primary fire, that's the beam, deals damage to barriers or enemies with shield health. So you get lifesteal on people who have a barrier like Rhine Shield, Sigma Shield, Winston Bubble, Zarya. A Symmetra Wall is basically lifesteal, 30 shield HP per second, or shield health. So you can like beam down to Zen and get some HP back. So that's a pretty big buff to her Photon. So they added a lot of power here, but they're nerfing the Sentry Turret damage from 40 to 25. That's a pretty significant nerf in terms of the bomb style, turret bomb style. And it also adds utility where it reveals people. That's nice for other people on the team. So one nerf, pretty big one, but like 3 buffs. I still think this is a big giga net buff to high-level Symmetra players. Obviously, high-level Symmetra players also knew how to TP bomb and would catch people unexpectedly, but this makes her more higher skill, I think, in terms of like landing a skill shot, 2-shotting people versus having to 3-shot, because the breakpoint change here is huge. But like this is a nerf to like the lower ranks because people don't shoot the turrets and then they fall asleep and they get zapped for like 3 turrets times 40. So yeah, I think buff to high, maybe a nerf to low, but this is still a buff to low rank players. Lower rank players can still like hold a secondary fire twice and just kill someone. But one-shotting through BAP window is a huge interaction that like people are underestimating, and Baptiste is already very good. Okay, Torb, same idea where they're taking power away from the turret, but let's talk about his rivet gun first, where the shotgun, that's a secondary fire. The spread is being reduced from 5 to 4.5 degrees. That's a buff. It means a tighter spread, because when you shoot, it spreads out into like a 5-degree angle, and 4.5 means it's tighter. That's kind of like a DPS buff, because more bullets will hit people. More bullets may tag enemies' hitboxes and their heads. They're also buffing the overload, which is his thingy where he gets armor and shoots faster. It instantly reloads 6 ammo, so you can just like shoot longer. But they're taking power away from the turret a bit, 14 to 11 on the turret, and the cooldown is increased from 10 to 12 if it gets destroyed. It's also 6 seconds instead of 5 seconds, like the half cooldown when you redeploy it. So nerfed here, double buffed on the other parts. Again, makes him less noob friendly, because he was like inverse proportionally valuable for lower ranked players because the turret did half the work. But now, like, if you actually land your, your overload Cheetos, or you like get some shotgun shots up close, like they're adding more skill to him and less like, of the mindless deploy turret stuff. I still think he's still solid at the high ranks, and he's probably still solid for people. 11 DPS is still a lot if people like ignore it, Or that's not even 11 DPS. I think it shoots twice a second. I think it's like 22 DPS. I don't actually know the true number. It's just per bullet damage nerfed here. Kiriko, healing Ofuda recovery. Think of recovery as a time between firing. This is a buff. This means like every 0.9 seconds you can fire your healing Ofuda again. It'll feel a bit quicker. 10% uptime or speed increase. It'll feel more responsive. It used to be 0.8 and they nerfed it to like 1, I think, but now it's 0.9, the middle ground, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong, but it used to be like this anyways in previous seasons. I think this is fine. Kiriko, I think, is really strong in the high levels, but people are already preferring Ana a little bit more than her, but they're trying to make her in line with Ana, I suppose. They probably need to tune Ana a little bit more. Yeah, Kiriko doesn't do that well in low elos, because I guess people aren't even like tracking properly with healing Ofuda and not taking advantage of the kunai. Oh, it used to be 0.85. Okay, well now Kiriko feels a little bit better, but remember, this is still a net nerf from what Kiriko was on release, where her like Kitsune rush was like 3 times cooldown and like had so much other stuff. And finally, the last thing on this patch was Zenyatta, the actual nerf to Discord Orb, 40 meter to 30 meter application range, and the time to wear off target when you're out of line of sight reduced from 2 to 1.5. I think this used to be 3 seconds when you like break line of sight. That is now 1.5. But honestly, if you're a good Zen, you might not feel it. 30 meters, this is just to apply the Discord. Once they're in line of sight, no matter where it's applied, it's fine. This would affect it a little bit, maybe on like Circuit Royale from long distances to get like a Discord on somebody. This is a semi-decent nerf, but I still think Zen is gonna be like pretty good. This is not even that bad of a nerf. And that's basically this mid-season 5 patch. There's also a bug fix I wanted to point out, where they fixed a bug where Cassidy's magnetic grenade did not disable the following, which is BAP's exo boot flights for both Sigma, Gravitic Flux, and Mercy's Valk. Now, I'm sure Mercy, Sigs, and Baptiste are going to be upset about this, but like, this is just keeping it consistent and in line with what it's supposed to do anyways, which is stop movement. They just, like, I'm a Baptiste player. I got stuck by one and I was able to jump last time. Like, oh, that's nice. But now, like, I have to be careful a bit more. I think it's okay to play around it. I actually think Cass's magnetic grenade, hot take, is not it's like an okay ability. Some people are really annoyed by it, but I think if they remove the slow, but they kept the whole hinder effect where you just can't move for like, what, a second, I think that's fine. Adds a bit more elements to play around. A lot of Overwatch players are always just like, we need to have no CC, but I think you need a little bit in the game, just a little bit, or else there's going to be certain heroes that are just like too good, unchecked, aka Tracer at the highest levels. And even Moira we saw in the World Cup, or you have like super high mobility will just run the game, like Sombra, Tracer, because like there's nothing to stop it. You do need a little bit, or you nerf the movement, but nerfing movement's no fun. People like movement and fast moving characters, so like you have to add a little bit. It is a little bit gimmicky too, I will say that, because it like sometimes it doesn't track or seek properly, and it's kind of, it does seek, but it's kind of a skill shot against the high moving characters. It's kind of like Tracers had to play around flashbang in Overwatch 1, but they don't have to worry about that now. Now they have to be careful a little bit about magnetic grenade again. The fact that it chases a little bit might be a little annoying, but like I think one blink should put you far enough away that it'll pop before it reaches you. So it's just like the same as it was before. Oh, by the way, it doesn't cancel Valkyrie or cancel Flux. It just makes them not be able to fly into the sky for like a second. It'll make them drop down if they're high up. Just a little bit. They'll just sink down until it's off. So it doesn't, as long as it doesn't cancel it, but it does cancel stuff like Rhine Charge, Junker Queen ult and stuff. So, it's still good when it hits. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, that's the big part of the patch. And again, we're in team queue. Now we're in a 12-minute queue for this team queue. We're getting fast queues at first, but now I'm able to do a whole patch breakdown while I'm queuing with my friends. But that's it for the mid-season 5 patch. It's also summer games, and the most important change is this Doomfist skin is available as a cosmetic reward by doing 6 summer game things. And of course, if you like spending money, this is probably going to be the hottest selling skin in the game. Very obvious reasons. Anyways, that's it. Goodbye.